Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Nicolette Hodge, and this is We Reflect the Light. I'm going to start off by identifying who the true seed of Abraham is, showing the proof, and then showing the connection between the true seed of Abraham and the war in the Middle East. All right, sisters and brothers.
Have you seen this? Abraham's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
All right, sisters and brothers, the question is, who is the true seed of Abraham? Not who the descendant to Abraham, it's the seed. The scriptures identifies the seed of Abraham. And as you can see, these devils cannot answer that question. So they claim they are the seed of Abraham. However, they cannot show any proof. So who is the true seed of Abraham, and how can it be proven, sisters and brothers? Let's keep moving.
Have you seen this?
This is the history of Abraham's seed. This is documented facts. And this is Genesis chapter 15, verse 12 through 17. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. But thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. And in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch that passed between these pieces. So this is the true history of Abraham's seed. And here in the scripture, he's called Abram, which identifies that Ham, which is his seed, will be separated from him during this time period. It shares no of a surety, sisters and brothers. It's very important because this is a definite. This is not a guess. This is not a might be. This is not a could have been. This is documented facts. This is the true history of the original black man and original black woman. We are sojourning temporarily in a land, America, that is not ours. And we served America, and America afflicted us. And not only America, however, this nation of Europeans, America, Britain, and false Israel. So they call our experience slavery. However, it's clearly stated in the scriptures that we served them, that's the enslavement, and they afflicted us. So slavery cannot possibly be our full experience. It's a very small percentage, sisters and brothers, only 1%. The other 99% of our experience is called affliction. Therefore, the Holocaust is our true experience. Our father Abram had a vision of horror, and that's exactly what we endured. No one can take our history away from us. They can try to hide our history. They can lie to us about our history. However, that does not change our history. That does not change the sacrifice that we already made. So, we're given a time frame. The Holocaust time frame is from 1619 to 2019. That's the 400-year time period. Now, there's other details in there, sisters and brothers. For instance, we were brought over here in 1555. It took 64 years to make a slave. That's a process of them stripping us of knowledge of self, getting rid of our names, getting rid of our language, forcing their religion on us. All right, and we submitted to them. So understand that the time period is from 1619 to 2019. And how do we verify that? How do we know that that's true? How can we prove that, sisters and brothers? 2020 came in with a plague, signaling that the judgment had started. That plague is COVID-19. It shows that, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So it's clear that the judgment started after the 400 years. So 2020 is the mark or the beginning of their judgment. And it shares that that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So when these devils talk about our experience, they speak as if they didn't do it. That was eons ago, and they didn't personally do it. It says that nation. It didn't specifically say a person's name. Understand that everyone is back to the womb, for one. We are our ancestors. And these devils are also their ancestors. All right? The bloodline is what ties them to the European nation. So there's no getting out of the judgment by saying there's no getting out of the judgment, period. They like to use that excuse that they did not personally cause harm to the original nation, when in reality they did. And they have benefited off of the horror that they put us through, and they are still benefiting off of it to this very day. It shares that also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So it shares that we're coming out, sisters and brothers. That is it's very clear. Anybody who's telling you to stay here, the scriptures clearly tell us to come out. So all of the lies about who Abraham's seed is, what we have endured, and where we're going is identified right here in the book of Genesis. Those lies are dispelled right here in the book of Genesis. These are clear proofs. Thou shalt be buried. It shares that they should come out with great substance, but thou shalt go, not stay, go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. And in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again. Hither means return, sisters and brothers. And we are in the fourth generation right now. So they do not clearly identify our history, because to do so would make a direct link between our history and our identity. They cannot let you connect the dots, so they have to keep confusing you. However, the light dispels all darkness, sisters and brothers. Lies and confusion is darkness, and the truth is the light. So our true experience is called the Holocaust. They attacked us on every level, psychologically, biologically, emotionally, and physically. These devils beat us, dismembered us, forced us to eat human and animal shit. Then they would put muzzles over our mouths so that we couldn't spit it out. That's not slavery, sisters and brothers. They forced us to eat out of troughs like animals. They saw us as animals, and they still see us and classify us as animals to this very day. According to the U.S. Constitution, we're 3/5 human, which means that they have us classified as animals and food, because you can eat animals. Animals are meat. So they treat us, they see us as animals. They totally humiliated our men, and they totally humiliated our women. They sodomized our men, and they raped our sisters around the clock. They attacked us on a biological level, because it is a scientific, biological fact that you are the seed of your father. The father carries the seed, therefore the child has the same bloodline in nature as the father. And these devils know that. Even though they deceive us with this one drop of black blood makes you black. However, black does not identify a bloodline. Black only identifies a skin color. So that statement alone is a deception, because it's not about skin color. It's about bloodline. So they were trying to rape our bloodline out of existence by forcing their seed into our wombs and making us produce their demon children, half devil, half man. The house Negroes, the bloodline of their devil fathers, but the skin color of their original black mothers. So this has been a concentrated effort to totally eradicate the true seed of Abraham. That's not slavery, sisters and brothers. Slavery does not include being raped. And as I've stated before, the fact that they raped us identifies that we did not desire these devils. We did not want to lay down with these devils. We did not want to have any intimate relations with these devils whatsoever, and they knew that. So they took our wombs against our consent. That is a coward move, sisters and brothers. They took something that does not belong to them, touching another nation's woman, a direct worse than a slap in the face to our original black man. That's not slavery. Slavery is working someone without paying them. Slavery is an economic system of capitalism. Maximum profit, minimum overhead. They maintained that economic system of capitalism with horror and terror around the clock. They mutilated us. did unimaginable things to our children. And they don't want to face the truth. So they call our experience a critical race theory. And they refuse to teach the truth in school to our children and to their children. And this is all in an effort to get out of their judgment, which is impossible, sisters and brothers. There's no escape from consequence. So, the Holocaust is our true history right here in America for the last 400 years. They don't talk about the Holocaust. When they show you movies of slavery, understand that that's an illusion. That's not our real experience. We did not have clothes on. We did not have our own homes. We did not have a family unit. Not the way that they show you, sisters and brothers. We did not have marriages. We were not allowed to procreate, to have any intimate relations with our man. If Master found out that we were pregnant or even suspected that we were pregnant with our original seed, they would murder us in cold blood in the most excruciating manner, torturing us to no avail. So the whole thing about it is they truly felt like what they did was right, then why not broadcast this information everywhere? Why are they telling us that slavery was in the past? We need to forget about that. They don't say that about the Holocaust. So understand that they're trying to prevent us from remembering what they did to us. However, I'm here to jog your memory, sisters and brothers. And inform you of our true history so that you can understand the sacrifice that you have made, highlighting our sisters' sacrifice and charity. Because we saved our nation, sisters. These devils went to war with us in the fields. We did not let them succeed. We were and are the victorious ones in this biological battle against the true seed of Abraham. So we must remember, never forget the sacrifice and the charity that the original Black woman has made to the original nation. You have a reward, sisters. And if it wasn't for you giving 100%, there will be nobody left to receive that reward. So you have assisted in the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant, which is our reward for enduring 400 years of enslavement and affliction. We carried the original nation on our backs in a time where we barely had enough energy to wake up every day, barely had enough energy to survive. So we made a 400-year investment in Abraham's seed. And the evidence is here today, sisters and brothers. And we will be avenged, sisters. We will be secured and protected. So your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Your sacrifice was not in vain. Warrior queens, we are warriors, standing up for our nation in a time of need without having to be told to do so, seeing the need and handling business. As I've stated before, we have a winning streak against these devils. We are the most successful nation on the planet. While these devils were forcing us to eat chitlins and defecating in our mouths and giving us the very least possible for us to survive, as they got the maximum labor out of us and gave us back the very minimum. Our seed kept coming through the womb stronger and stronger and stronger. And all that pressure that they had us under did not destroy us. It made us into diamonds. And all throughout the Holocaust, the Black woman has displayed her strength. So what is the reward for that? In that day, God made a covenant with Abram, saying, "Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates." So understand that this is God's sure and volatile word, which is more than a promise. And word is bond. And we already endured the 400 years of horror. And for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. So that means that we have to receive something that is just as great, just as intense as the horror that we endured. However, it has to be the exact opposite. We upheld, or we served these devils so that they could uphold civilization during their rulership, which that season that we're coming out of is the winter season. And slavery, capitalism, that's the economic system for that season. Okay? These devils were not wrong for enslaving us because we were told to submit, and that's exactly what we did. Again, slavery is an economic system of capitalism, maximum profit, minimum overhead. Dirty water is better than no water. We did not have enough energy to uphold civilization because we are very complex beings. Therefore, it takes a lot of energy not only to maintain ourselves, it takes a lot of energy to maintain ourselves, however, it does not take them as much energy to maintain themselves because they are a totally stripped down version of us. So they don't need as much energy as we do. So they have a lot more energy available to use on other things, which they have the energy to uphold civilization in a time of energy deprivation. So in the winter season, they are well equipped to uphold civilization because they have the energy to do so. So slavery, capitalism, that's the economic system for that season. Where they went wrong is by touching that tree. They were told not to touch that tree. The affliction is where they went wrong. The way that they behaved themselves towards, how they conducted themselves towards us, is why they are being judged today. So this is the reward that we get for making that 400-year sacrifice. And we are promised, which is more than a promise, sisters and brothers, our own land. So we are promised, God gave his word to give us our own economics. And when you look on a map, sisters and brothers, those two rivers are not in America. So that totally dispels anyone telling you that America is our land. Furthermore, these so-called black leaders and the ministers in the church, Louis Farrakhan and his student ministers, will not tell you about the Abrahamic covenant. They will not tell you that you have a reward. Because they are a part of the plan to destroy Abraham's seed. The Abrahamic covenant is our vision. A people without a vision will perish. So they are trying to prevent us, excuse me, sisters and brothers. They're trying to destroy us. And they don't want to let us go. Understand that they're living off of us. They're leeches, parasites. Sucking our blood. If we leave America, they no longer have that lavish lifestyle, which they're not going to have it here in a few days anyways, just based off of how these events are unfolding with the wars and the economic collapse that's soon to come. However, they will not let us go. And Farrakhan and the rest of these demons are living off of us. So of course they don't want us to know that we have a covenant. We have an inheritance. We have a reward. They don't want us to know that. Because having one vision to unite under is inspiring. They can't let us be inspired in the right direction. This shows us exactly where we're going. No guessing. So they avoid this scripture, which is right after Abram's vision of horror, which most agree, and Farrakhan himself has spoken on Abram's vision of horror, but he will not read the next verse down that says what our reward is. So they believe in part of the book and they disbelieve in the other. So that should tell you everything that you need to know right there, sisters and brothers. So the land that's between those two rivers is our promised land, Arabia. The best part of the planet Earth that we have preserved for ourselves. Elijah Muhammad said that we would be fools to stay in the land of our imprisonment. And that's exactly what Farrakhan is trying to make us out to be, fools. And worse than fools, dead fools. Because America is going to be destroyed. And if we stay here, that means we're going to partake in her destruction. And her destruction is part of her judgment for afflicting us. So what sense does it make to go through 400 years of sacrificing, agony, pain, just to turn around and be destroyed for refusing to leave? This is our home, sisters and brothers, our heavenly home. Supreme Lessons identifies that Arabia is our heavenly home. The best part of the planet Earth. Why would we want to stay in America in this blood-soaked land? So once you put all that together, you realize that reparations is a bunch of BS. So what does this have to do with the war in the Middle East, sisters and brothers? Our promised land, Arabia, is in the Middle East. The Middle East is heaven. And right now we are witnessing a war in heaven. The war in the Middle East has been clearly outlined in the Angel, which is the unsealed scriptures of Revelations, which has been unsealed by the breaker of the seven seals, Daniel the prophet, the messenger of the covenant, the Lamb. So let's get into Revelations chapter 12. And occurred war in the heaven. Heaven is the Middle East, sisters and brothers. The Michael and the angels of him, of the two war with the dragon, and the dragon warred and the angels of it, and not it proved strong. Not but place was found of them yet in the heaven. and was thrown the dragon the great, the serpent the archaic, the being called devil and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole. He was thrown into the earth, and the angels of him with him were thrown. So we are given a location of a war. We are given the participants of the war. We are told which participants are aligned on each side of this battle. And we are also given the outcome of this war. So through the unsealed scriptures of Revelations, we know exactly how this war will turn out. We know the outcome. We knew that there was going to be a war when they were talking peace and safety. We knew that they were not going to go back to the JCPOA deal. And again, we knew that there wasn't going to be peace and safety, no peace in the Middle East, even though that's what they were saying. So understand that this is our guide, sisters and brothers. The unsealed scriptures is our guide. Not the news, not CNN, not the Twitter. The angel. The angel is the light. So who are the participants of this war? We have Michael and his angels and the dragon and his angels. It shows that the dragon and his angels will be thrown out of heaven, thrown out of the Middle East. So whoever the dragon and his angels are, that's the ones that are going to be defeated. And Michael and his angels are the ones that will be victorious. So let's look at the participants. Michael and his angels are God, Master Farad Muhammad, Iran, and Syria. The dragon and his angels is the House of Saud, America, Britain, and false Israel. So the House of Saud, the dragon and his angels, are about to be defeated. They're going to lose this war. And Michael and his angels will be victorious in this war. Again, the angel is the light, sisters and brothers. And no matter what they say on the news, no matter how tough you see Trump tweeting and texting all hours of the day and night, this is the definite. So we don't have to guess. We don't have to guess how this war is going to turn out. We know that Iran is going to win this war. And we know who's aligned with Iran. So America is in trouble. Britain is in trouble. The House of Saud, America and Britain will be kicked out the Middle East first. And false Israel, remember at the beginning of this presentation, false Israel, they claim that they are us. In reality, they are the synagogue of Satan. They are the seed of the devil, not the seed of Abraham. And they are an abomination. They are over in the Holy Land. Somewhere that they should not be. Pretending to be someone that they are not. While abominably destroying the Palestinians. Remember, The Abrahamic covenant says that Abram's seed gets Arabia. False Israel is in Jerusalem, Palestine. So they cannot possibly, and they also claim that the Abrahamic covenant has been fulfilled, but they're not in the land that's promised to Abraham's seed. So they cannot possibly be the true seed of Abraham. When COVID-19 came, it did not pass over false Israel. However, it passed over us. It dropped the European nations totally, staggering their numbers, greatly affecting their numbers, killing them off. And they are still plagued with COVID till this very day. Yet the plague passed over those with the blood of the Lamb. It's all about bloodline, sisters and brothers. And if they were truly the bloodline of Abraham, then COVID-19 would have passed over them. However, it didn't. So that's another proof of who they are. So when America and Britain get kicked out of the Middle East, and the House of Assad, the dragon, gets kicked out the Middle East, false Israel will go under siege by Iran and Syria, who's backed by our God, Master Farad Muhammad. And they will be destroyed after they're humiliated. Everything that they have done to the Palestinians will be done to them. They have also afflicted the original black man and original black woman right here in North America. So they have very heavy and intense destruction awaiting them. The dragon fuels its angels because the House of Assad controls the oil in our land, Arabia. And that oil is what fuels the economies of America, Britain, and false Israel. So when the House of Assad is kicked out the Middle East, that oil will be cut off. And without any oil, all of this comes to a screeching halt permanently. That's total economic destruction. Will also be total chaos. That oil is the backbone of this economic system that these devils have built. They have built an entire industrial complex that is 100% reliant on oil. So Iran is going to be in control of our oil, because all of that belongs to us, sisters and brothers. All of the holy sites, our land, Arabia, the oil, everything coming out of it, that's ours. And when they turn off that oil, nothing will be the same, sisters and brothers. And we are already feeling the effects of the war in the Middle East with the gas prices rising. Farmers right here in America have not been able to get the resources that they need to prepare the soil to plant their crops. This is things that needed to be planted like yesterday, so that it could be ready in the fall and the winter, so that America could have food And that was not done because of the war. So the war in the Middle East we see, because nothing is spooky, sisters and brothers. No one's waving a magic wand and then boom, famine, and boom, destruction. No, we're watching the process of America's destruction. There will not be any food in the coming months as a result of what's going on right now. However, as I stated earlier, they have us classified as food through that U.S. Constitution, which calls us animals. And these devils have not missed a meal in the last 400 years. So when there is no food, we become the food. So you're being given this information in advance, sisters and brothers, so that we can make the necessary moves to get our nation, the original nation, to safety. The attack that they have planned for us is already set, sisters and brothers. And our vision, the Abrahamic covenant, is what the original nation is about to unite under. And they already have plans written up in the DOD directive, the Department of Defense, which states that if they even suspect unity, us coming together, then they will use lethal, which means deadly force, on us. They have these concentration camps lined up. ICE is already in action. First, they started off rounding up the foreigners. And then we saw them starting to attack and detain Black U.S. citizens. So that's clear evidence that that attack that will be made on all blacks is not based off of who you are. It'll be based off of your skin color. Because they cannot let false Israel be destroyed without taking us out first. Because if false Israel goes down, then that is clear proof that the original black man and original black woman right here in North America is the true seed of Abraham. And their entire reality is based off the lie that false Israel is God's chosen people. False Israel is Satan. Satan is the god of this world. False Israel controls our image on the media. They used to paint their faces black and totally humiliate us, make mockery of us. Today, they have their black-faced children doing it. Kevin Hart. All of these so-called Well, they're not so-called, they are black entertainers, social media influencers, athletes, misrepresenting the original nation, presenting us to the world as if we are, or presenting our image, which is not truly us, to the world as if we are clowns, whores, pimps, junkies, and total idiots. All in the effort to prevent us from knowing who we are. They control the money system. They control the educational system. So they're controlling the information that we receive. They control the news. They control the media. They have their black-faced child, Louis Farrakhan, over the Nation of Islam, controlling or blocking our vision, telling us that we ain't going nowhere, that we're sinful, we don't have a reward, and that he prays to Allah that the worms eat our ass. He's wishing death on us. Meanwhile, he's getting pushed around in a wheelchair, which is clear evidence that he is cursed by Allah for robbing us, for robbing God. So, sisters and brothers, this war in the Middle East is directly tied to us. And we are in danger, sisters and brothers. And we are about to safely unite the original nation under our vision of the Abrahamic covenant and prepare to make our exodus of America. Because we're getting out of here. We have somewhere to be. We have a land. We have an economic system to build. And a paradise to build. We have a pedestal to get back on, sisters. We're about to place ourselves on. Take our pedestal back. And never be removed from it again. Never to be disrespected. Never again to be disrespected. Never again to be stepped on. And degraded and raped. Never again. So understand, sisters and brothers, that this is a great time for us. And although this war is the outcome of the war with the economic collapse may put us in a difficult position, understand that with difficulty is ease, sisters and brothers. And as long as we unite under our vision of the Abrahamic covenant, we have each other. That's all we need to get through this safely, coming out as one strong body, one army, with every body part intact and healthy. They don't want that. That's why they have made all these efforts to keep us disunited. And then one of the main things is make sure that we don't have a vision. Doing everything that they can to block and destroy our vision, because they know how powerful one vision is, one common vision for us to unite under. They know how powerful that is. So, sisters and brothers, be prepared. Have your bags packed in your car ready to go. At least a 30-day supply of food that does not have to be cooked. Think about your children. Get your gas tanks filled up and have them secured in your car. This is not a game, sisters and brothers. Each day that goes on, it's getting closer and closer to the economic destruction of America, which will happen any day, any moment, sisters and brothers. So with that brings this segment to a close, and I will be back with more. Assalamu alaikum.